Last time the Toffees finished above 10th, Huddersfield were in the Premier League, Salomon Rondon was banging in goals for Newcastle, and Shokran Mustafi was Arsenal's starting centre-back. A lot has happened since Everton were last a serious force. They had a nice short stint under Ancelotti, but it's about time Everton actually progressed as a football club. New surroundings, Moyesy's returned home. Let's have a look at a player who would slide right into this redeeming rise. Since Moyesy's reunion back at Goodison Park, only 4 teams in the Premier League have managed to take 3 points away from Everton so far. His impact is terrific, but everyone watching this video knows that. Today we're here to talk about Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. In a recent report via The Guardian, Chelsea are putting a host of names out for sale. The 26-year-old Sheffield-born midfielder is one of them. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, as you may know, made a name for himself at Leicester City, but enjoyed loan spells before that with Blackpool and Luton Town. He was then reluctantly sold due to PSR issues with Leicester financially, where he moved to Chelsea, where of course the competition, standard, squad is absolutely huge. Now, despite his impressive performances in the UEFA Conference League, his minutes have been extremely limited and it's not quite worked for him. Somewhere that would work for him though is Everton. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, also known as KDH, is a hard-working, goal-scoring attacking midfielder. His recent season in the Championship and game time in the Conference League proves that quite clearly. Here in the Championship, you can see he's one of the leading players in the division, a goal-scoring, creative, ball-carrying outlet for the Foxes. Here in the conference, he was also one of the leading players in the tournament, proving to be very effective for Moyesy. When he's given the game time, the trust, then he's a reliable performer who always happens to have pretty amazing availability, playing over 200 games in the last 5 years. His fitness is top notch. He was always at top of the tree at Leicester when it came down to bleep tests, and you can consider him to be a workhorse footballer. But he's more than that, so let's take a look. We'll start discussing him on the ball before we talk off it, as I have a lot to say about both in relation to David Moyes and Everton. Since relegation from the Premier League, KDH has improved quite a lot as a footballer. Before, he was good, but since this he's improved massively in the final third, and overall his actions as a footballer. Nowadays he's more slick, skillful, shrewd in what he does. Before, he looked a little bit clunky on the ball. His passes, shots, crosses, dribbling would be executed with an extreme left foot bias and no real technique to it. There'd be a huge swing with that left leg, and it was quite obvious what he was trying to do, making it easier for defenders to stop. Which is fine of course, but he made some passes look like hard work. It didn't look natural at times. He had that lack of style or technique that workhorse footballers typically lack. But now his intentions with the ball look more effortless. Now you may think this is just because of a season in the Championship. The level is different and much lower. But in the game time which he has been given at Chelsea, he's proved this otherwise. His passes are now more well disguised, which is good for him creatively. In the penalty area, he can twist and turn more easily, meaning he can beat players more swiftly. The 26-year-old is 5'7", but his determined and competitive personality ensures that he can compete physically, and even leans into the dark arts of football a little bit in terms of buying fouls in the penalty area, averaging 1.75 fouls won per 90 in the Champ. Now, before we even get to the final third, a lot happens before that, so let's move deeper down the pitch. KDH is a fantastic ball carrier from deep. In fact, he's immense, making him so effective in transition. His sheer acceleration and drive with the ball at his feet single-handedly makes a move more dangerous, especially if there's space to run into. It's a strength he's always carried, a strength too that a David Moyes team would thrive on. He's not the fastest naturally as a sprinter, but his high-level fitness and workhorse mentality does the talking. His footwork with the ball is pretty nice too. He can change direction, beat a player more convincingly without having to rely on large amounts of space to run into. To add to this, he knows how to use his body when challenging, allowing him to withhold any pressure or go down. But before he receives the pass, his first few touches are well rehearsed, controlled, and improved since his earlier days, where sometimes his first touch may lead to a duel. Often he likes to tease the opponent with his left foot, taking more touches, understandably, as he is most effective when in that left half space, not having to cut back, but he has featured a lot on the other side under Enzo Maresca. He then beats his man, commonly using his body and contact quite a lot, or a swift change of direction, which is supported by his footwork. Overall, he's become really tidy with the ball at his feet. Creatively, he does shine through threaded balls into space and combination play in the final third. So let's move up the pitch again. In the final third, he's grown a huge amount of composure over the last 2 seasons. He's more confident here, and it's clear an area of his game he takes more pride in now. He isn't afraid to take an extra touch or shimmy one way or feint the other without taking too many touches. He's a very decent finisher. He certainly knows where the goal is with his stats and translates his tidy actions into the final third. As a box crasher or late runner, he's brilliant at dealing with chaos and misdirection in the box well, competing for headers, scoring 3 last season, competing for duels fearlessly, making effective runs and scoring goals of genuine quality in this area. Those effective runs can be found through crosses, long balls from deep, through balls into passing areas. It varies very nicely, similar to Abdoulaye Doucouré, with a bit of polish to his dribbling on the ball. In front of goal, he isn't selfish. If there's an obvious pass, he'll execute it, often finding himself making a low cross across goal. His weight of pass is very good, especially on those through balls too. They are very well timed and easy for the winger or striker to latch onto. It doesn't matter if the distance is short or large, he strikes it very well. Now, despite his clear and very obvious strength of crashing the box, he's very good when breaking into space on the break, as we've mentioned. The best examples of this are against Birmingham and West Brom. You can see here he sprints very quickly beyond the centre half, then shares the composure and coolness to take it round the goalkeeper. Here, against West Brom in the 93rd minute, as soon as the corner is cleared, he rushes forward with Harry Winks, receives the ball, then slides it across unselfishly to win Leicester the game. Deadly, ruthless, clinical, this needs to be replicated in an Everton shirt. Moving on to his qualities off the ball now, and what's there not to like? As we know, fitness wise, there's no concern. He's absolutely top. But out of possession, he's everything Moyes would want in a 10. He has good spatial awareness. He knows when to press, how to limit space, and suffocate an opponent intensely. He's intelligent. His ball-winning abilities pair very nicely with his brilliant understanding of his role and what he needs to do. He can press aggressively, making life hugely difficult for the player with the ball, but also sit back and stand off, watching the space and movement that flows around his team, whilst leading that line. Just because he's a more advanced player, that doesn't mean he won't track back as well. He's always very determined to get back for his team, so he'll be busting a gut to get back into position. Another component that David Moyes will love. When aiming to win the ball back, the second his opponent takes a loose touch or bad pass, he springs right into action, making the transition from defence to attack almost instant and deadly. But the most notable thing about these photos here is that he's pressing in a front 2, a 4-4-2. Here, he's leading the line with Patson Daka in a 4-4-2 from last season. Here, he's leading the line with Jamie Vardy from the 22-23 season. Here is a photo against Newcastle in 2022, and guess what? A 4-4-2. Then here's another from last season. The bottom line, he's very used to leading the line of press in a 4-4-2 for many years, which happens to be how David Moyes shapes up out of possession. Moyes has often incorporated a high 4-2-4 press with the wingers jumping onto the fullbacks when the opposition play out, and then a compact 4-4-2 shape in the middle third. Looking to force a team out wide, but stay proactive out wide. KDH fits into all of this like an absolute glove. Here is Everton's current side with KDH in it. Here are some of the players they are linked to in the targeted positions, but let's talk about that another day. KDH would share an excellent understanding of what Moyes demands from him and his team in this off-the-ball structure. He could lead the line alongside Beto, whoever the striker will be, triggering the press with physicality and sheer legs running at the opposition, making Everton an even more tricky side of the ball. Of course, when they are pushed back, he'd also slide right in here. But another tactical adaptation you could make with Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall in the squad is swapping KDH and Ndiaye out of possession. Forest have done something very similar with Alanga and Gibbs-White this season, but by doing this, you are very proactive and alive in those wider areas, with KDH making this structure even more effective. You're also allowing KDH to come deeper to showcase his ball-winning abilities, and once the ball is won from deep, likely from a Branthwaite or Tarkowski header, Garner Gay interception or KDH tackle, you now have Dewsbury-Hall carrying the ball forwards from deep in full speed and full flow, whilst Salomon Rondon is now in his favoured central role, with of course space for KDH to run into, meaning Everton can move even faster, consume more players into KDH and create more space for others, and allow KDH to rotate and interchange with Salomon Rondon. These two could be integral. They could both find each other in these underlapping positions, but they both favour on that left side for different reasons. KDH because he's left-footed, and Ndiaye because he wants to take players on and show off his trickery on his right foot. There's a potential for the two to combine really well and have a great relationship. I can envision Dewsbury-Hall carrying the ball forwards, passing it to Ndiaye, who takes the ball out wide, taking the defender away before KDH moves into the space he previously occupied. Dewsbury-Hall ticks all the boxes for me. Chelsea signed him for a fee around the 30 million mark. They are not going to be earning that back, so I imagine a fee of 20 to 25 million would do the trick, but a loan with an option to buy would be the option I encourage Everton to jump on. But this is a player who matches everything David Moyes wants in a 10. He's in the prime of his career, he's a reliable performer, and he's someone who will embrace the club, create a strong connection to the supporters with his raw passion, drawing them right into him from day one. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to smash a like and subscribe to the channel. What do you think of Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, and should he sign for Everton or not? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.